Welcome to Just Minding My Business Radio, where we are moving at the speed of God, learning what we didn't know we didn't know. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
So grab a pen and paper and get ready for information that you can use.
Welcome to our Facebook Live edition of Just Minding My Business. We pray that you are being safe and finding positivity in the midst of a storm. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
Tonight, we hope that our guests will support you in de-stressing and really living in a positive mindset. We are happy to bring Sid McNary, who is not your typical yoga, healer, spiritual leader, or motivator. So welcome, Sid. We appreciate having you here.
Yes,
Thank
indeed.
you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So tell us how you got on this journey that you're on now.
Well, I started meditating when I was 8, so over 40 years ago, and that started with the coaches that were way ahead of their time, and that continued through high school, through college. And I had coaches that taught me how to meditate. And then when I left and became a college football coach, one of the first things I started doing with my players was to help them get more peaceful and centered before games. So it stayed that way. It really stayed that way through sports. And when I left coaching football, I went on to own yoga studios after teaching my players yoga at Morgan State University. And then I started owning a yoga studio and raised my kids through the yoga. And now my son still owns the yoga studio in Baltimore at Four Warriors in Towson. And now it was interesting because what took me to where I am now was we had started to change things up at the studio. My son was taking over, and then I realized it was his spot now, and so we packed up everything, sold everything in our house, and 10 months ago, my wife and I just sold everything and hit the road, and 22,000 miles later, we landed in Florida and opened a new center, and then 2 weeks later, we were told that we're in quarantine. So,
Wow.
So then we slowed down a little bit, but we do a lot of things virtually and help people through virtual classes and things of that
nature. Okay. Wow. That's an
important to
adventure.
know.
Yeah,
sure.
It's been interesting.
A big adventure. So in times like this, I mean, we kind of know what the benefits of yoga are, but can you elaborate a little bit to our audience, how they can use this in all different types of ways in their life?
Well, the big thing right now, everybody is turning to yoga because you don't need a lot of space, and you can do it at home, and you can do it by following someone on the screen and learning what they're doing, right? So that makes it easy to do for anybody. And we've created a platform, nahiwarrior.com, where someone can, nahiwarrior.com, where someone can come onto it for $15 a month. So even in this time, it's easy for somebody to use in that way. What's also done outside of this type of moment, yoga's been around before Christ. So it stayed that way because what it was back in 500 years, way more than that before Jesus, was the fact of people meditating. And when someone would meditate, if their body couldn't sit, and the meditation was just to be able to run the energy to connect and listen to God. And if someone couldn't sit, their body would strike a pose in order to get them to sit more. And that was just without trying to do it. And now it's gotten to a point that we use yoga to try to get back to making that connection, back to having that level of energy moving through our body that allows us to stay in tune in that way. So that I think is the biggest thing for people today. We're missing that connection to something bigger than ourselves.
Absolutely.
I think that's even why we have the situation we're in right now as a world is we forgot about who started everything.
Mm.
Could you talk just a little bit more about the energy portion of this? Because
so for me, the energy of it, we're like tuning forks. So based on the frequency that we carry as a person, like I used to have a different frequency when I was coaching football, and I would attract those same type of things off the football field. When I would get away from the football field, I'd attract people in my life that were a little more physical and violent and interesting in that way. And then as I shifted through yoga and really aligned myself to a different place of peace, I've come into peaceful moments. Even in the midst of this, it's been peaceful for me, where in the past I may have, because of the energy and the way my body was dense and resisting everything. I mean, when we left, I weighed 70 more pounds than I do right now. So the last time I met you, I was 70 more pounds, and you may not have even thought of me as anything but a yogi. And now I've leaned that space off from doing yoga and changing my diet and all the different things, that now it's just easier for me to take on moments because they don't stick in my body. And so I think that's a majorly important thing that takes place, especially in African Americans, Native Americans, because that type 2 diabetes, I've seen it with people that end up with that, where their body gets more bloated. So then the energy and fluid is stuck in our bodies, where allowing ourselves to do yoga starts to lean us out and redistribute that and allow things to flow through with more ease. At least that's what I've found in my body.
Okay. Wow. Excellent. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So we want to take some time for you to show our audience some things that they can do that would benefit mind, body, and spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first, before I even get on the mat, because I think for me, my yoga practice is what allows me to meditate and sit for an hour and not, and just be free when I'm sitting. And so I'd say the first thing is just to learn how to be more still, to sit still and in that place, right where you all are, you can close your eyes and then just start to take deep breaths. And as your breath moves through your body, just begin to connect and see where your thoughts go. And it's nothing to judge. If you have a lot of thoughts going on in your mind, just observe them and know that program running in the back of your head is attracting your life. And know that by taking 7 deep breaths, you can begin to shift in your body on a cellular level. And so in our Nahi system of meditation, we have the first pillar. And the first part of that pillar is just connecting to your breathing. And so if someone is struggling to stay present to watching their breath, you begin to count each breath as you inhale and exhale as 1. And you just keep going until you reach 10, unless a thought comes in. And if a thought comes in, just start over. and then you can open your eyes. And so that right there is just an easy way to begin to discover what peace feels like in your body, as well as how to stop the thoughts. You know, that old saying, if you worry, don't pray. If you pray, don't worry. If you have a bunch of worry going on in the back of your head, that's being attracted just like you're praying for it. And so I think that's an important place, especially at this time in where we are in the world, that this is a great time to begin to really get connected to what are we bringing in unconsciously. We can start to bring things into our lives consciously. You know, we've been inundated with programs from people around us, people, media, social media, you name it. And so if we aren't conscious of it, we're going to continue to bring that stuff forward in our lives. And so then we can become conscious and begin to think, see how can we shift? And how can we allow things to come in that help us to move in the direction we want to go? And that, some people think of that's what people are doing to us, right? Like the man or the system or whatever. And really those that are in it too, they're just human beings in it, and likely doing things unconscious that they aren't really intending to do. So if we can become more conscious in our own lives, we can begin to impact them as well. So I think that to me is where in this moment we're able to make the biggest shifts right here, because right here is showing up out there. And
yes.
And so if we can do that, if we can take the time to sit, be still, to move consciously, and the more we do it as adults, the more we affect the next generation, and we can continue to see something evolve in so many levels. So, yeah. And so then the next thing, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to explain it first. It's called sun salutations. And so it's really just a way of moving your body. And there's several movements that you do, but if you were to do this 30 to 40 times a day, and it's really simple, it'd be easy for you to begin to shift and see a lot of difference in your body. And know this, that as I move through it, a couple things. One, anytime I'm reaching up, anytime that your body expands, if you breathe in, you feel your chest lift. So anytime something's going up, that's moving with an inhalation. Anytime I'm contracting or folding or pulling into myself, that's an exhalation. So know that as I move, I'm moving my breath to consciously connect my breathing into my body. And something that it'll do to help people right now is it'll help strengthen your lungs. And strengthening your lungs at this point in time with the coronavirus, that's what it attacks. It attacks once it gets in your body, it wants to go into your lungs and diminish that. It's almost like asthma on steroids. So really taking the time to build up your own lungs, that way if something ever comes that you do contract it in any way, the stronger your lung capacity, the more you'll be able to fight it off. So I'm going to do that. So the first thing is just come to the front of your mat and know that as you stand with your feet grounded and you lift through the top of your head, you want to feel this is the posture that you reference for every posture. My spine's in my body, my feet are grounded with my toes pointed straight ahead, my shoulders are back, and I lift up through the top of my head. And then I'll reach up as I breathe in, and then I fold forward as I breathe out. I'll lift halfway, and then step back to a high plank. Now as I breathe out, I go down, and then upward facing dog, and then back to downward facing dog. And so as I land in downward facing dog, as I press to my hands, I let my sit bones lift up towards the ceiling, and I press my heels back. And I keep my breath moving and feel my body shift. So as I land in downward facing dog, I'll stay here for 3 breaths. And then you bend your knees, you step or jump to the front of your mat, lift halfway, fold as you breathe out. Inhale to come up. Exhale to fold. Lift halfway, breathe in. Step or jump back. Up dog, breathe in. Down dog, breathe out. And land.
Keep your breath moving. And every time you come back to this posture, it's like you're feeling home base. Just to discover what's shifted in your body, take another breath. Bend your knee, jump forward. Half lift, fold forward. Reach up and fold. Half lift, high to low push up. Up dog and down dog. So if someone were to do that as many times as they can, really, if they did that 10 times, if that's all you could do, that'd be great. If they could do that 40 times, and my teacher used to say 46 times a day, and you wouldn't need to do any other type of yoga. So just doing that, I mean, you can see that it's even taxed my breathing just a couple times through. So that happens. I'm also talking. So that kind of wins me a little bit in that sense, but that's an easy thing for everybody to do it at their house. And then you can continue to grow as things pass.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me ask you, so that is for people who are completely mobile. Is there anything that people who are perhaps not mobile, senior citizens, wheelchair bound, are there simple exercises that they can do that can benefit them?
Well, yeah, for sure. And you can do the same thing from a chair. Like, really, you could reach up, you fold forward as much as you can, lift halfway, fold, and then they come back up, and then hands to your heart. So that's an easy way to do it, as if I am sitting right now, lift half, fold, come all the way back up. And so you're still doing the same movements. Obviously, they're not moving to the front and back. And even when I jumped, you don't have to jump. You can step forward, step back. So it all has a lot of ways to move with a lot less. On our platform, we're about to introduce chair yoga for people that are immobile, so that they can go on our platform and see how that's working. And so there's a lot of things that can be done. We look at it as modifying the practice. Our whole practice can be done with a chair. And so someone can sit in a chair and turn and end up in Warrior 2 or Warrior 1, just depending on how the chair fits under their body. And then we have this Friday, I'm doing something that came up for me when I was little, I knew I could impact people in a bigger way. But then as I got older and the more I got into yoga and the more I went and sat in the mountains and 10 days in silence and all these different things that I did, my hands turned on. And when they turned on, it was the energy that comes through me has helped a lot of people heal from a lot of different things. So, and then with this, it was a challenge. So I began to interact with people that needed healing, and I learned how to send healing through the screen to them in some ways and help them in that way. So on Friday, we're doing a free healing. That's at 5 o'clock on the Eastern Standard Time, 4 o'clock our time here in Central Time. And so we do that a lot, like working with people energetically to create shifts. So if it is somebody in a wheelchair, actually, if you go to my Instagram, you can see a young man that was in a wheelchair stand up. So there's a lot of things that can come forward. And right now, I think that's where we are. We're opening up to the idea that there is much more to it than what we've limited ourselves to. Mm-hmm. And in this moment with this coronavirus, it's time to discover what is possible as a human.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think that's really very interesting that you should say what you just said about the energy. Not everybody, but many people are waking up to that we have our own energy field and we can control it. We can change it. And based on what we do and what we think, where our thinking is, our energy changes. So a lot of what I think we've all seen, all the fear, the anxiety, and you see some people just living there. I know when I'm nicely here, sequestered. I don't mind it because I have my own energy around me and my energy feels good and I can improve it. And I can catch myself when I feel myself thinking about all this that's going on. And then it's like, wait a minute, no, we're not going there. Let me change my thoughts. Let me revive my own energy feeling. And people do it in all kinds of ways. But I think that's one of the most important things that I hear you talking about is the flow of energy, the fact that we are energy beings. We know that because we talk about having no energy, low energy, all of that. But I don't think we've ever thought about what we're saying. And
Right.
you made that very clear, what we're really talking about. It is the energy that's within us and how we can maximize that or magnify it. So thank you for that.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
What I was going to say is, how can people connect with you so that they can get involved with what you're doing?
So the best way is to go to my website at sidmcnary.com. We've got the center here in Santa Rosa Beach called SoFitGo. And then our global platform is Nahi Wellness, Nahi Wellness.com. We have our virtual classes at NahiWarrior.com. And so if you go to any of those platforms, you'll find your way to all the other ones. We do a lot of here initially with what everybody's going through. We have the means to be able to help people. So we've been doing a lot of free trainings and mental teaching because, you know, you can be in the best physical condition. At least I was in top physical condition as a coach. And I had no concept of what I was inviting because of where my mind was. And when that shifted, I noticed that a lot of people that were in my life that didn't need to be there began to fall off, and people that were more uplifted and on another expression began to come in my life. And so I think that's important to just look at your life. You don't have to know how to feel your energy inside. If your life is full of chaos, it's chaos in here. Mm-hmm. And it shows up out there. You know, we're tuning forks of a sense, and we're vibrating and pulling things into our life. So I'm excited to see where the world is now, because it's a big wake up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yes, it is.
Wake up.
Yeah. So we've got a great chance to wake up and move forward in so many ways.
Absolutely. And again, your event that's going to be happening this Friday?
Yes, this Friday.
Okay. Can you talk about that again?
Yeah. So that event is, it's a free healing session. So you can be there with your family. It's free. An opportunity for people to really just come in and hear what it's about. There'll be a couple people that likely will share what's happened for them in their lives and things like that. I think it's with this kind of platform, with our Zoom call right now, you know, they talked about social distancing, but really it's an opportunity right now for us to social connect.
Yes.
And physical distancing. And now you're not only are you socially connecting, but we all get to connect to what type of thing do I want to connect to. So it's an uplifting moment and an opportunity for people to connect on such a bigger level than sitting around with the old gossip circles and coming into something new. I mean, who would have ever thought that all the things we were saying, people were saying in gossip scenes would actually come true and begin to be part of their own lives. So I think it's so important to see what we're putting out into the world and how it's coming back.
Can't add anything to that.
Absolutely. Well, Sid, we are so grateful that you came on our platform tonight. We really appreciate you. We've interviewed you before, and we still talk about that interview. It was definitely eye-opening for us, and we hope that our audience was able to take something away that they can use and also begin to connect with you on what you do, because it can't hurt, that's for sure. You know, it's not going to hurt you. It's going to make you better. So once again, we do appreciate you, and we also appreciate the people that joined us and stopped by, and we want everybody to be safe and be peace and bring peace into your life. So thank you so much, and blessings to you and yours.
Thank you very much.
Word on the street says there's something new at Just Minding My Business Media. You've heard our podcast, Just Minding My Business Radio, that brings news and views you can use. That airs every Thursday at 6 p.m. on iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, and Spreaker. Well, now you can watch Just Minding My Business. That's right, Just Minding My Business Media now has a TV presence on Raven International TV Network, broadcast on Roku, Fire, and Apple TV. Your business, through Just Minding My Business Media, has exposure on internet radio, major social media platforms, and now TV, through Just Minding My Business dynamic digital marketing platform. Don't listen to the word on the street. Hear it for yourself. Visit jmb.asistercircle.org to learn how you can take your business, your vision, to the next level. Thank you to the amazing women of A Sister Circle Empowerment Network, ASCEN LLC, and our media partners. Let Just Minding My Business Media promote your business. For information, visit us at jmb.asistercircle.org. That's jmb.asistascircle.org. Voiceovers by RCH VoiceWorks, for when you want to be heard. Call 443-620-4115.
Thank you for tuning in to Just Minding My Business Radio. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
We hope you enjoyed the show and appreciate you stopping by. Many blessings to you and yours.